Hello everyone and welcome inside Rogers Centre here in Toronto, Ontario for the second of three between the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. And last night, if you missed it, well, it was our very first time going to extra innings on the virtual Jays network. And the Red Sox ended up taking it off of a great night from Kevin Pillar, the former Blue Jay. He went 3 for 5 with 2 doubles, 2 RBI, and the biggest one giving them the go-ahead run in the 10th last night. It'll be Trent Thornton on the mound for the Jays today, looking to replicate what was a very good last start against the same team, the Red Sox.
The last time it was at Fenway. Today, here he's got the task at home. 8 innings, just 5 hits, no walks, no runs allowed. Part of a 3-0 win where Trent Thornton pitched the first 8, handed the ball over to Giles, and it was an easy night for the rotation, the whole pitching staff, and Charlie Montoyo in that Jays dugout.
And he was money. He was effective. He was focused. No walks. I think that was the real key in that one. But we thank you for joining us today on the VJN for game number 30 of the season. My name is Jackson Farough. I'm joined by Drew Frank. And so it's Thornton against Peraza here to kick things off. And he's going to ground a ball to third. Guerrero fields and throws him out on the money. And the first hitter is retired.
Nice play by Guerrero Jr. there, because Peraza's a guy, he's in the leadout spot because he's got a little speed. Followed by him next, it'll be Andrew Benintendi. JD Martinez is always in the 3-hole and Bogart's cleanup. Then pair of lefties and Devers and Morelands. Then the bottom of the order, it's the hero from last night, Kevin Pillar, and 2 new faces. Kevin Plawecki's catching tonight, and Zue Lin is in center field.
Yeah, so a couple changes in the outfield. One constant is Benintendi in left. Last night he went 1 for 5 with a walk. And so we'll see what he can get up to against Trent Thornton today. 3 for 10 against Toronto the last time he faced them in a whole series, over the course of a series, back last week at Fenway. As, of course, these two teams just played last week. It's already their 3rd series on the year. We're still in late April, so lots of Boston, Toronto. These two teams sure will be sick of each other, I'm sure, by the end of this series. A 1-2 to Benintendi. Swung on, fouled off.
Well, after this series, the Jays and Red Sox won't meet until just before the All-Star break. It's not till July 6th that the Jays head to Fenway.
As that one's drilled into right field, Hernandez gets underneath it and makes the play. He's back in right field today for the Blue Jays.
And you touched on it a little bit. One of the big reasons for Thornton's success was his ability to limit the walks. And if you follow us on Twitter, we put out a little bit of a league update. Trent Thornton is actually 3rd in the entire MLB in fewest walks per 9. The Twins' Devin Smeltzer leads the way. 2nd is Jacob deGrom, and Trent Thornton's been right there with him. Only 5 walks allowed so far this season.
Yeah, very astonishing. I was looking at his stats prior to the game, and I thought, wow, just 5? Is that a typo? No, it's absolutely correct. He's done a great job, considering last year his whip was above 1.4. And to have just 5 walks on the year, that's been a clear focus for Thornton. He's done a good job thus far. We'll see what he can get up to today in that regard. Interesting storyline to follow. So 2-0 to Martinez. Swung on into the left field past the shortstop Bichette for a 2-out base hit.
And Martinez was due for something like that. Luckily for the Jays, it's just a single because he's got the pop in his bat to do a whole lot more than that. Held quiet throughout most of the season series between these two teams. His last time against Thornton, just last week ago, Thornton struck him out twice, going 0 for 3 on the night, but jumps on him quick here.
So it's Bogarts at the plate now. 2019 Silver Slugger, of course, at shortstop. One of the better hitting shortstops in the American League now. Hitting above 300 and a real force for this Red Sox team. Grounds that one over to first. Tellez over there at first today. Grabs it and makes the play. So Trent Thornton, a solid first inning for him. We will see what Biggio, Jansen, and Grichuk have up their sleeves coming up on the virtual Jays Network. Hello and welcome back. So, Eduardo Rodriguez makes yet another start against the Blue Jays this season.
And he's looked good enough so far against them. The ERA at 2.48 on the season. A guy that's had it up around 4 over the past couple years. Has really been effective so far this year. He's faced the Jays in a couple starts, as you mentioned. First time out, the Jays beat him. The last time out, the Red Sox, of course, fell again behind Trent Thornton's strong effort. So two starts for Rodriguez that his team hasn't been able to come away with the win, but not largely because of him. He's pitched a combined 11 1/3, surrendering 4 runs, which is not necessarily sparkling or dominant, but definitely more than enough to stay competitive and just about a quality start in both of those 2 outings.
And the ace in this Red Sox rotation, at least for the time being. Pitched over 200 innings last year for the first time in his career. And so he'll face the leadoff hitter once again today, Cavan Biggio. And Biggio's gone pretty cold recently. In fact, last night, he had 1 walk and 3 strikeouts in the leadoff spot. And against Baltimore this past weekend, he went 2 for 12. So, that leadoff spot, not really treating any of these Blue Jays well. Bichette was there for a bit. He struggled. Now Biggio starting to struggle there. He's in a 2-2 count now. Rodriguez deals. That one's fouled off the plate.
The only guy that's really done much in the leadoff spot consistently has been Joe Panic. He gets another day off here. Last time he faced Rodriguez in the leadoff spot, struck out twice, 0 for 3.
And Biggio went, so strike 3 is called. The first out is recorded by the Red Sox here.
And a pitch that was well outside the zone. You don't see Biggio chasing those pitches all too often. Eduardo Rodriguez, though, benefits and gets a quick strikeout.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic so far for Biggio, especially considering he had 3 strikeouts yesterday. Normally a guy who can get on base often, has very good plate discipline, good eye, but just not working for him right now. He's just not seeing the ball well. He's also against a pretty good pitcher here. Rodriguez sure knows how to mix up his stuff, his sequence very effectively. So it's Danny Jansen at the plate in a 1-1 count now. He went 1 for 4 yesterday with a walk. Swings and misses on an outside fastball for strike 2. Jansen, a guy who's really been one of the biggest contributors to this Jays team early on here.
And he's been moved up in the lineup as a result. The opening day he faced Rodriguez all the way down in the 9-hole.
Strikes out there, so back-to-back Ks to kick things off for Eduardo Rodriguez here in the first.
And last time out, we mentioned he pitched well, but got out-dueled by Thornton's stunning performance, and clearly that might be on Eduardo Rodriguez's mind a little bit as he's coming out with a vengeance here. 2 batters faced and 2 strikeouts swinging.
So it'll be Randall Grichuk at the plate. He had a great day yesterday. Had himself a 2-run shot that tied things up and allowed this game to even get to extras. Or last night's game, rather. He also had a single. He's in it quickly in a 2-1 count here. Of course, Rodriguez, a guy who's going to challenge a guy like Grichuk, I think. The Red Sox will challenge Grichuk. His strikeout rate's still pretty high. He's a guy who is a swing and miss type, as many are on this Jays team. Once again in center field today is Grichuk, and when he connects, like he did last night, a 2-run shot, it looks beautiful, but there's other nights where he'll have 3 strikeouts and go 0 for 4, but he'll take those. Got himself a walk here with 2 away, so it'll be Vlad Guerrero Jr. up now.
And he walked against Rodriguez in that last game that we've talked about already so many times. In that game, it started out pretty similar. Grichuk was in the 3-hole, Rodriguez got the first 2 batters out. Third batter of the game, Grichuk walked, and it was followed by a Vlad Guerrero home run. Those 2 runs off of the bat of Guerrero in that first inning were the only 2 runs that Rodriguez surrendered. So of course it's really early to be talking about big at-bats and making a statement, but retiring Guerrero Jr. here today might set down some demons from his last time out.
So 1-0 to Guerrero Jr. Yeah, he looked great against Rodriguez, and he looked great in that Boston series overall. Going 5 for 11 with 4 RBI. On the year, heading into last night, he was 8 for 19. Now, let's see, 9 for 23 on the season. One ball, 2 strikes to the young slugger. And Guerrero Jr., not the best hitter on this team to start the year, but he is leading the team in RBI, and I think in that cleanup spot, he shouldered that responsibility fairly well early on here, especially against Boston. 2-2, swung on, fouled off.
And he's been one of the mainstays in the middle of the order. Montoyo had him in the cleanoff spot to start the year, and he stayed right around there throughout this whole first 30-game stretch.
As that one's hit into center field, Sue Lin comes in and makes an incredible jump to grab that one. Wow, look at that. Not the conventional center fielder today for the Red Sox, but he makes an exceptional grab to end the first inning for them. Scoreless in Toronto. Welcome back. So we'll see Rafael Devers up next. As we kick things off now in the second inning here on the virtual Jays network. 4 home runs in the year for Devers. The average not quite up there. Last year he hit above 300. This year a little bit lower as of now, but still very early. We'll see Trent Thornton get back out there now. Allowed a single in the first. As that one's flown into left center. Gurriel Jr. back in left field there to make the play.
So Trent Thornton now has retired 4 outs without surrendering any runs so far, and here's the defense he'll have to help him out today. It's just about the starting 9 for the Jays. Gurriel, Grichuk, and Teoscar Hernandez in the outfield, and across the infield left to right it's Guerrero Jr., Bichette, Biggio, and Tellez. Shaw is DHing today, so it's Tellez at first base, and behind the plate, it's Danny Jansen.
As Mitch Moreland drills one into deep right, it's going to sail foul, however. Strike 1. Yeah, the defense a little different for the Red Sox today. First time in a while we've seen a bit of a mix-up in the lineup. They've tried to hold a very consistent lineup. Normally Benintendi at the top, Devers in the 2-hole. Today Devers is hitting in the 5 spot. And Moreland a little lower as well in the 6-hole today as he takes well inside for ball 1.
And part of that is because Peraza's in at second base instead of Chavis. They've had Chavis in the 5-6 spot throughout the year, but with Peraza, a little bit more contact, a little bit more speed, he slides all the way up to the top.
Smolin pops that one up. It's in the infield. Tellez has a beat on it. Makes the play, so quickly 2 away here with that pop-up.
And Tellez hauls that in here now in his second game at home in 2020. Missed the homestands to start the year, but called up over the road trip and didn't have much of an impact in yesterday's game, but he's looked good so far in what he's seen and what he's delivered for Montoyo. He was brought up to hit, and he had a big home run in Baltimore, and so far so good on that front.
Of course, Kevin Pillar, big day yesterday. 3 for 5. A couple RBI, a couple doubles. And, I mean, that was a very important day for him. A guy who's kind of been hitting in the lower end of the lineup, 8 and 9 spot. Today he's moved up a little bit to the 7 hole. Of course, the game-winning RBI in the 10th. Takes there just outside, 2-2 now. Takes low there as well. Now, full count, 2 away to the right fielder. And it's interesting, he's back in right today. You'd think maybe he would slide over to center with Bradley Jr. getting the day off, considering, well, he played center field in Toronto for a good 5 seasons. He grounds that one to third. Farough Jr. makes a good play, but 3 up, 3 down quickly here in the second for Thornton. Still scoreless here at the Rogers Center on the virtual Jays Network. So Travis Shaw at the plate now. In his last 4, it's been quiet. 2 for 15, hitting just 153 on the year. DHing today. Charlie Montoyo giving him another chance to see if he can get out of this little funk he's been in. And 3 strikeouts for the veteran lefty yesterday.
And a bit of a tougher matchup today. Lefty on lefty, so he's got the platoon disadvantage, but we've seen him hit a couple out against lefties and hasn't stopped him so far.
Gets a base hit, so perhaps starts to work his way out of the little quiet streak he's been in. Gets himself a base hit, start things off in the second.
And that one just right through the hole. The 5-6 hole, usually a bit shifted over, but here with the defense playing him to pull, he hits that where a traditional shortstop would usually be. In this case, Bogaerts is on the other side of second base, and he's got himself a single.
So Shaw reaches, it'll bring up Lourdes Gurriel Jr. And he went 4 for 11 in the last series against Boston. Hits very well at Fenway. But still hitting just 200 on the year. And he's gone cold as of late, so had the day off yesterday. And he starts off with a 1-1 count. And the 1-1 to Gurriel Jr. misses or is actually taken inside for a strike. You see the ump having that one called a strike, despite being a little hard on the inside. And taken low there. And Gurriel Jr., a guy who's predominantly played in left field this season. Play a little shortstop for you as well. And he's also hit, kind of all around the lineup. He's in the 3 spot for a little bit. Even can hit in the 2-hole for you. As that one's taken low and inside for ball 4. So Gurriel Jr. takes a walk to kick things off on his day. And the first 2 hitters in this inning both reach.
It's hard to see if there's any correlation there, but he's actually had some of his best games at the plate when he is playing shortstop. His first game playing short of the year, he went 3 for 4 with an RBI and scored 3 times. And then he had 2 of his other 3 games at shortstop. He had multiple hits going 2 for 4 and 2 for 3 respectively. So I'm not sure if there's anything there, but he's looked good when he's at short so far.
And Gurriel Jr. 0 for 8 against Baltimore over the weekend. And he was in left field in those contests. Yeah, it's something to think about for sure. It's going to be Rowdy Tellez. Speaking of defense, he's back at first base today. Been getting a good amount of starts there. Charlie Montoyo is growing more and more confident with that glove. And I think with Tellez, it's going to be a lot of touch and go, right?
And with Brandon Drury injured until well into May, you'll have a lot of opportunities here.
So 2-2. The lefty Tellez takes on the inside. Good take. Call the ball.
The count full now. Already 2 walks allowed by Eduardo Rodriguez. And Tellez, a guy with pretty good discipline, looking to make it 3.
Payoff to Tellez. Swung on. Grounded up to the pitcher Rodriguez. So the runners advance. Tellez is retired.
And Charlie Montoya will take that all day. A situation where you actually might see a bunt by certain teams down the 7-hitter in the lineup, 2 on, none out. In this case, Rowdy Tellez, not the type of guy that bunts, a real power bat that could strike for multiple runs at any moment. Here it's just off the bottom of his bat, but no double play and definitely not the worst case scenario as both advance.
Yeah, and this lineup doesn't really cater itself to very much small ball. I mean, you've got a lot of hitters here who want to swing for the fences, more power bats. Whether that's especially lower Tellez, the guy at the plate right now, Hernandez, both fall into that category, even Shaw, Vlad, Grichuk. So, not a whole lot of small ball being played, but if you can get plays like that where the runners can still advance, take it every day of the week. So Hernandez quickly in a 3-0 count now, with runners on second and third. The Jays are looming to strike here in the second. As that one's hit over to third, runners will not be able to advance, and the throw is made in time. 2 away.
Nice work by Rodriguez to induce back-to-back ground balls after allowing the first to the reach. He's got a real opportunity to work his way out of a jam as Bo Bichette comes up. And Bo Bichette, one of the guys that really struggled last time out, went 0 for 2 against Rodriguez last week when they faced, striking out on fastballs on the inner half in both his 2 at-bats.
0 for 4 yesterday as well. And we had thought a little bit yesterday, Drew, about how maybe Bichette was starting to pull himself out of the funk he's been in to start the year. You see just hitting 148. And he had a decent series in Baltimore. Went 3 for 10 with a walk. Some important hits, but tough day yesterday. He's in a 2-1 count now against the lefty. Rodriguez in some trouble, though, in this inning, trying to escape. And what an opportunity for Bichette here. And he drives that one down the line. It's going to be a fair ball. Gets past Devers, and that'll be 2 RBI for Bo Bichette. And it's a 2-0 lead for the Blue Jays here.
And Rodriguez gets 3 straight ground balls, but that one stung down the line, just inside fair territory by about 1.5 feet. That one's going to trickle all the way into left field. And Devers tries to make a play on it, but unable to get over. 2-run score, and the Jays are in business early.
A huge hit for Bo Bichette to start off his day. Couple RBI. So Kevin Biggio will look to follow that up now. Yeah, Rodriguez almost finding his way out of that jam. But the nine-hitter Bichette comes through.
Bichette struggling so far. He's only got 2 RBI on the year. Both of them have come against Boston, though. One in the opening game of the opening series, and then one just last week. That's his 3rd and his 4th right here tonight.
And Montoya, by leaving him in the lineup almost every day, despite his struggles, I think that's huge for a young hitter's confidence. Similar can be said about Biggio, who's dealing with the strikeout bug a little bit at the moment. Struck out in the first. Struck out 3 times yesterday. He's in a 3-1 count now. Rodriguez looks to get out of this inning as fast as he possibly can. Full count now. 50 pitches already for Rodriguez. As that one is lined into right. Pilar there to make the play. So the Blue Jays get a couple runs off of Bo Bichette. 2 RBI single here in the second, and it's a 2-0 game on the virtual Jays Network. So it's Kevin Plawecki leading off the third inning here for the Red Sox. Backup catcher this year in Boston, his first year there. It'll actually be all three newcomers to this lineup for Boston today in this inning. Plawecki, Lynn, and Peraza do up. As Plawecki drills that one through the hole into right field to leadoff single.
And the catching situation in Boston is pretty different than the catching situation in Toronto. Well, the Jays almost have more of a 1A, 1B role, and sure, Jansen's pulled ahead so far in this early season. They're pretty close in the depth chart. Boston has been Christian Vasquez with 98 at-bats so far this season, and Plawecki, that was just his 17th at-bat on the year right there as he singled.
Plawecki coming over to Boston this past offseason. Played in Cleveland last year. As Zue Lin grounds that one to third. Guerrero Jr. to second for one. To first, they can't complete the double play. So Lin reaches, but the lead runner is out.
And quick at-bat there by Lin. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the magnificent catch he made in that first inning. Diving catch in center field, running in and dove and robbed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of a hit. Well, here Vladimir Guerrero Jr. tries to get him right back by turning a nice play at second.
And that one's away from Tellez. So now Lin's going to reach second here as the ball gets away from Tellez. A poor pickoff attempt, and the error is scored to Trent Thornton here. Sorry to cut you off there, Drew.
Well, he's not doing himself any favors there. Almost gets a double play. Now all of a sudden, not only is he out of potentially another double play situation, he's got a runner in scoring position. Tellez tries to get that ball, but no chance. That was just a wild throw.
Yeah, it sure was. Thornton tried to get him quickly. Obviously, Lin in center field made a good play, and perhaps Thornton thought he was going to be a bit more of a base-stealing threat, so he tries to make a throw over, but just misses well wide. Tellez not able to corral it. So now runner in scoring position, one away for Jose Peraza, who grounded out in first. And that one's flown into right. Looks like Biggio will range back and get there. Now two away.
And that one's hauled in nice and shallow, so no chance for Lin to advance. Potentially, I mean, if that one's skied out a little deeper, Lin's got some speed, and Teoscar Hernandez has a formidable arm, but certainly one that you'll challenge on a deep enough fly ball. Tagging to third, in this case, not available, so Benintendi will have to try and drive him in all the way from second.
Benintendi flew out to right in the first. Hitting right around the 250 mark on the year. Normally the leadoff hitter for the Red Sox, as I mentioned earlier. Top of the order guy. Two-0 to left fielder is taken right on the block for strike one. Thornton now looking to work his way out of a minor problem, you can call it here in the third. A runner on second, but two away as he's got a good job of getting Peraza to pop out. And now he's got a full count to Benintendi.
And on deck after Benintendi, it's J.D. Martinez, who's already singled today, and dangerous bat. You want to try and get Benintendi here if you can.
And with the heart of the order coming up, you're absolutely right, Drew. As that one is absolutely smacked into right center field. Hernandez going back. That'll sail over the wall in right. And we got ourselves a tie ball game. Benintendi's first of the year here in Toronto. It's a 2-2 game.
And quickly here, you mentioned tie game. Right back, a quick response from Boston. The Jays took the lead in the bottom of the second, and Boston wastes no time as Benintendi on a full count pitch. That's a changeup that just gets hung up in the zone by Thornton. Up in near middle of the plate, and Benintendi all over that one as he pulls it well over the wall into right field.
The first big mistake we've seen Thornton make in, I'd say, the last two starts. Leaves a pitch in the zone for Benintendi to pull to right. He makes no mistake. Two away for JD Martinez now. He's in a 2-0 count. And we saw in that last at-bat, Drew Thornton getting behind in the count. Right? We've talked about his low walks on the year, so he tries to get back in the zone. And then, he works his way, gets a full count, but just leaves one a little too high there. Unable to battle back completely. As JD Martinez now drills that one into deep left. Gurriel Jr. at the track. And he'll make the play. So, allowed out there. And Thornton is able to get through the inning, but not before Benintendi laces one to right field. It's a tie ball game here on the virtual Jays Network. So it'll be Jansen, Grichuk, Guerrero Jr., the heart of the Blue Jays order coming up here as they'll try to bounce back after a tough last half inning in which the Red Sox tied things up off an Andrew Benintendi 2-run home run. First blemish for Thornton here in this start, and really the last two starts, as I mentioned at the time. Of course, Thornton went 8 innings strong in Boston last time out. No walks, 5 hits, no runs allowed. Today's already allowed 2. Jansen fouls that one off quickly, 0-2 here.
And that was an inning that they jumped on him quickly with a single as Plawecki sliced one of the first offerings into right field. Wasn't able to retire Lynn, and then after gets the ground ball, isn't able to turn the double play. Lynn reaches, and then it was the mistake you mentioned to Benintendi. He just fell behind in the count, couldn't work back, and then floated that off-speed pitch in a very dangerous spot.
One-two to the catcher, Jansen. He drives that one into center. That'll get down in front of Lynn for a leadoff single.
And Lynn not able to dive and grab this one. That looks similar to the one he stole from Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the first, but this one just drops a little too far in front of him. He's looked okay so far in center field. You mentioned he reached base and scored, as well as a great catch. This is only his second game of the year. Only 3 at-bats on the year for him. He's, 4 now if you count last inning. Picked up a double, but he's kind of been a utility piece that the Red Sox haven't used much, because despite the fact he can play infield, outfield, middle infield, they've been sticking mostly to their consistent formula and not moving too many pieces between these games.
75 career games for Lynn. Listed as an infielder, normally does play the infield, but Red Sox giving him opportunities. That's kind of been a theme for Boston this season. Opportunity, whether it's in the rotation, guys like Weber and Walden, or in the outfield with Lynn, Pilar. And Rodriguez gets a strikeout on Grichuk there. And Grichuk actually has fared pretty well against Rodriguez now this season. Not so much there, however.
And it's interesting because against Rodriguez coming into 2019, he was just 3 for 15. Then in 2020 so far, in his first 4 plate appearances, he homered, he had a double, he scored twice, and walked twice as well. Rodriguez only able to get him out once in those first 4 at-bats, but a nice strikeout there as he sets him down.
And quickly 0-2 to Rodriguez, or to Guerrero Jr. rather. 0-2 from Rodriguez, as Guerrero Jr. well ahead on that. 1 out, 1 on for the young third baseman. Made a couple good plays today. He's looked very good at third really all year. And it's given Charlie Montoyo the ability to put Tellez at first regularly and not have to DH him, because Shaw can now DH with Guerrero Jr. playing some defense. And he'll line that one in the left center field. Lynn goes to field, and he's going to try a good. The third is Jansen, and he's out on the play. Really, no debate about how that one was going to go. He challenges the arm of Sue Lin, and the challenge doesn't pay off. Lin is victorious here.
And off the bat, that looked like a gap written all over it. But a great route by Lin. I'm surprised he got there, but he manages to and cuts that one off before it trickles to the warning track. So he's able to get a jump on it and throw it straight into third. A great throw by Jansen. He's just as surprised as I am, as he's called out, and now 2 outs with no runner on third.
Yeah, Lynn looking excellent in center today. They should put him there more often. Of course, Jackie Bradley Jr., premier center fielder, has a day off today. But a free agent at the end of the year to be Bradley Jr., so you never know. Maybe there's an opportunity there for a guy like Lynn, and I think he wants to show that off today, his ability to play center. But it's Travis Shaw who singled in the second. Quickly down 0-2 here. We see a common theme. Rodriguez is getting ahead of these hitters. That was grounded short. Play is made to second by Bogarts for the force out. And the Blue Jays are retired here in the third, so it's still tied 2-2 as we'll head to the fourth in Toronto. So it'll be Bogarts, Devers, Moreland in this inning for the Red Sox. All tied up. Of course, last time out, this offense was able to drive home a couple runs on a Benintendi shot to right. And then, the very next hitter up, J.D. Martinez flies one out to left. But that one sounded very good off the bat, too. So some loud hitting going on here against Thornton. And we'll see if he can settle things down in the fourth.
And before that home run, it was 11 straight scoreless innings from Thornton. The 8 scoreless in Boston, 2 here tonight. And then he finished out his outing in Tampa Bay with a scoreless inning way back on the 17th, the night that he got terrorized by Austin Meadows, but he was able to bounce back from that. Strong outing last night, and so far a little shaky, but definitely flashes of excellence tonight.
That one sailed the foul territory. Tellez makes the play. Yeah, we talk about the pitch speed comparison. We see it all evened up there at 95. Thornton able to dial it up. But, last time out, he was really good. This time, so far, he's really only made a few mistakes. He left one up there to Benintendi. A couple singles here and there, but overall he's been rather effective. It's interesting because Toronto kind of found this pitcher, Thornton, on the cheap. I mean, as that one's flown into left, get down for a base hit for Devers, but a very interesting trade. It was actually Aledmys Diaz going to Houston for Trent Thornton. So a guy that the Jays kind of just picked up in the offseason, and then in 2018 they flip him. And next thing you know, we've got Trent Thornton as in the rotation here. Last year, 150 innings, 29 starts. And then now this year, he's made all his scheduled starts. He's been in the rotation since the beginning of the year. ERA below 3. The Jays might have found themselves some gold here.
And a guy that, he won the rotation spot out of camp. There are a few guys that pitched in a similar spot like him last year, whether it be Jacob Wagsback and a few other names in that conversation that looks good as well. But Trent Thornton, a strong year last year, led the Jays in innings pitched, a strong camp, and he's won himself a rotation spot. He's looked good so far. And yeah, they got him for just Aledmys Diaz. And the front office has really been good in making those trades for kind of short-term pieces and getting pieces back that can help over a larger time frame and make significant impacts.
Yeah, and you can even just look at, in fact, the birthday boy today in that bullpen, Thomas Pinot, coming over from Cleveland. as Moreland strikes out on the off-speed from Thornton, but you see it here. Yanking the string is Thornton there and Moreland, but yeah, Pannone comes over from Cleveland for Joe Smith, who they picked up to be in the bullpen, flipped him at the deadline for a guy who now is an effective lefty for you. Really finding these gems. And now we're going to see, as we see a guy at the plate right now, actually, Kevin Pillar, who this front office traded to San Francisco last April. However, they didn't really get much for him. Derek Law worked his way into the Jays bullpen. He's not there this year.
Last night's catcher, Reese McGuire, if you want to look at him, they traded Drew Hutchison for a package including Liriano, McGuire, and Harold Ramirez. Liriano flipped for Teoscar Hernandez later on. So from Drew Hutchison, you stem both one of your major impacting catchers, Reese McGuire, who's a big piece of this team now, and Teoscar Hernandez, your starting right fielder for, a guy that didn't necessarily have much future and is already well out of the league. Just a few nice trades by the various management groups of this Jays organization over the past handful of years.
And Pillar will walk, taking ball 4. So first and second, 2 away here. But yeah, really good job. I think for this front office too, that's taken a bit of a beating in the press and from the fans, because I think it was an unwinnable situation when they took over. You had a very competitive team, but it was older. You knew that this wasn't going to last forever, and unsustainable, frankly. That one's grounded back to Thornton. He's going to go a third for the force out. Very alert defense there from the young starter. More on him later, and we're still scoreless as we head to the bottom of the 4th in the virtual Jays Network. Welcome back. So it'll be Gurriel Jr. at the plate. He walked last time up back in the 2nd. Rodriguez's pitch count getting higher and higher. He'll hit 70 here on the next pitch. Only through 4, or in the 4th inning rather, only through 3. And last time up, he only got through 5 innings and allowed 2 runs. 2 walks, 7 Ks. So a decent line for him last time. Not too long, however, and could be similar today. And we talk about Thornton getting traded over to Toronto as a prospect and them really being able to make something out of him. How about Rodriguez as he strikes out Gurriel Jr. here? Rodriguez coming over in 2014 from Baltimore for the very famous left-handed reliever Andrew Miller. So, and we see, and Andrew Miller's been traded numerous times. He was also involved in the Clint Frazier deal way back from New York to Cleveland. But the fact of the matter is, some found goal for the Red Sox as well, who he's now their ace, and he pitched 200 innings for them last year. He's a very important part of this rotation in Boston.
And you can look at that Miller trade in a number of ways. Miller himself has really burst out in 2015, the year after he got traded, and actually got Cy Young votes coming out of that bullpen. But recently, some struggles with St. Louis, but he's really evolved into a star pitcher himself. And Eduardo Rodriguez, you get an ace in your rotation and a guy that's been there for a few years and given solid innings for what was a bullpen piece that never really worked out in Boston. They've both grown since they've parted ways, but yeah, another example where you talk about getting a major impact piece for what was, at the time of the trade, just more of a depth short-term player in Miller.
Yeah, very fascinating the way those two careers have gone. I think both teams can look at it Well, I think Boston more so looks at it probably as an advantage just because Miller didn't spend too long in Baltimore. He's worked his way around the American League now.
And his 4 years in Boston weren't anywhere near what he's worked up to become now. I mean, mostly as a starting pitcher in his first season with them. He transitioned into the bullpen and was effective, but not as dominant, per se. I mean, his best year with them was 2014, where he had a 2.02 ERA in 60 innings of work, and that's the year that he got traded from Boston to Baltimore and capitalized off of his value to get Eduardo Rodriguez back.
Well, if you remember, too, in 2014, Baltimore was very competitive. They, in fact, won this division. And, you know, they had that star-studded lineup with Davis, Machado, Jones, Wieters. But, you know, there was obviously a bullpen piece they wanted. And here we are. Started from that trade is the ace in this rotation. Probably not by design. 1-2 to Hernandez, taken high, ball 2. So Tellez reaches. He's at first. One away for Hernandez, who's 0 for 1. Takes inside, now full count to the right fielder. I'd imagine, you know, we see the Boston bullpen start to work. This will probably be the last inning for Rodriguez as he starts to approach 100 pitches.
And it's Martin Perez up again in the pen. Pitched 2 innings last night, the 6th and 7th. Pitched them clean. He's been really busy in this Red Sox team.
Hernandez strikes out, so 2 away now. 5 Ks on the day for E-Rod.
Another strikeout, second in the inning. Gets Hernandez to swing out in front of that offering. He goes down quite similarly to how Gurriel went down just 2 batters ago.
Bichette flies that one into right center field. Pilar ranging back. It's gone. What a day Bo Bichette is having. 4 RBI in his first home run of the season. It's a 4-2 game.
And you could tell that one was due. 30 games yet to leave the park. Hit all sorts of extra base hits in his 2019 stretch with the Jays. Finally gets his first long ball here. Down in the 9-hole, he's only looked better and better as this season's gone on. And man, 4 RBIs today. That's a pitch right out over the middle of the zone. Bichette deep in the count, stays back on it a little bit, waits for his pitch, and drills that one opposite field and over the wall.
Points to the sky when he touches home plate. You know how much that one meant to him. Finally, Bo Bichette gets that first home run of the year. Monkey off the back, perhaps. His teammates very happy for him. They know how much it means to him to finally get things back on track here. Wow. 4-2 game, all off the bat of Bo Bichette in this one.
And he's been the difference in a season where he's really had a bunch of opportunities and not necessarily converted on all of them. Left a lot of ducks on the pond, especially in the first few games of the season. Here he's starting a bit of a turnaround, as you could really look at this game as maybe a breaking point.
Biggio strikes out, so we will head to the bottom part of this inning. But Bo Bichette, huge shot. And we'll head to the 5th now, 4-2 Toronto. Welcome back to Rogers Center. Well, a very loud last inning it sure was. As Bo Bichette had himself a 2-run shot and woke this building up a little bit. Gave the Blue Jays the lead. Woke himself up a little bit. We saw in the Baltimore series, Bichette started to get going. going 3 for 10, and now he's 2 for 2 on the day. Jay's young shortstop. Perhaps this is the turning point for him, as that one's grounded first. Play is made. Interesting play last inning. The ball was grounded Trent Thornton, a similar play to that. 2 away in first and second. Thornton decides to go to third instead of just throwing the ball to first with a catcher on the way there. A bit of an odd decision, but hey, it worked for him.
It seemed like maybe he lost track of how many outs because it was hit back to him quickly, and they would have had time to get the lead runner and maybe turn 2 on that with how direct that ball got right to him. So maybe trying to start a double play, but I mean, it happens, and they got out of it. So at the end of the day, you can't argue with the result. Inning over, and inning off to a good start here with a similar play.
So Peraza steps in, and now Thornton has some more run support. He's allowed just 2 runs, but a 4th inning in which he didn't allow a run. He was able to get out of it. And we'll see if he can get now in the 5th here. His pitch count still pretty low, much lower than his counterpart Rodriguez, who should be done after approaching 100 pitches. So Peraza walks with 1 away. That'll be the 2nd walk on the day now for Thornton.
The last half inning where we saw the Jays break out for 2 runs, it was Rodriguez retiring the first batter and then walking the next one where things really got out of control. The 1-out walk was the first run to come around to score on the Bichette home run, but Rodriguez struck out the side, got the first last batter as well as Teoscar Hernandez in the middle there, all to strike out, but the 2 runs on the board, I mean, I'm sure he'd trade in those strikeouts to keep him off.
And that's the bottom of this lineup coming through, right? So Les walks, as you mentioned. So the 7-hitter and then the 9-hitter Bichette with the big bomb. Always important. That's what elite teams get, is that contribution from the bottom part of the lineup as Benintendi pops out to the catcher.
Up next for the Red Sox, the designated hitter.
So JD Martinez steps in, runner on first, 2 out. JD 1 for 2 in the day. Man, he had himself a loud out to end the 3rd. It's cracked off the bat, pulled to left, but Gurriel was able to make the play on the track.
It looked like it had a chance off the bat to be back-to-back home runs. He, of course, followed Andrew Benintendi, who left the yards, and you mentioned it only got out to the warning track, but it looked like it could have gone a little further, and if we were here with the dome open later in the summer, it just might have.
How about that? And it's a 1-1 count to JD. 3rd season in Boston for the slugger. Heading over there in a 5-year deal. Very productive there, in fact. And well, last season had himself a 304 average and 36 home runs. So quite the hitting, especially when you look at him, Devers, and Bogarts, even Benintendi. I mean, that's a real force in the middle of this lineup. It's just a matter of if the other parts, the other cogs can work themselves out, but it's been a bit of a struggle in Boston in that regard. Full count, 2 away to Martinez. Driven in the left field. This one will get down for a base hit. So runners at first and second now, 2 away.
And a very bad spot. Watch this breaking ball stay up. That was right around the ribs of JD Martinez. Floated in there, and I gotta say, Trent Thornton surrenders the single, but it's almost lucky that it's not any worse than that, as that one stayed right up around the eyes. Martinez saw it all the way and laces it into left field.
Many a time in JD's career, that one's in the seats, not in the glove of Gurriel Jr. off a hop, but alas, he reaches on a single, so first and second, 2 away for Bogarts, who drills one into center field. Grichuk ranging back, and he makes the play. So Trent Thornton with a much-needed out to center field to keep the Red Sox off the board in this inning. It's 4-2 Jays as we head to the bottom of the 5th.
incomplete.
And a familiar face here as Martin Perez comes out for his 13th outing of the year. And you see the 8.64 ERA. We saw him just last night. He pitched the 5th and 6th innings, relieving Marcus Walden. He's a guy that the Red Sox have given all sorts of opportunity, and surrendering 24 runs in 25 innings. You gotta figure he's almost at the end of his leash on how many more chances he's gonna get for Ron Renicki's team here. They've got a few guys down in the minors that might be worth a call-up. I mean, Brian Johnson is a guy that comes to mind for me. He's given this team some solid innings throughout the past. He's been hit or miss, but you gotta figure it probably can't really get much worse than 24 earned in 25 innings here.
Some struggles for sure, but I guess another opportunity here. So Danny Jansen had himself a single to lead off the third as he strikes out here. And in that last time on the bases, Jansen was actually thrown out at third trying to test the arm of Lynn, and he got him. But as we see Rodriguez's line here, 91 pitches, 4 innings only, and now 4 earned.
And not the day he was looking for. He got burned by the home run by Bo Bichette back in that 4th inning. Other than that, it was just a bit of small ball back in the second for the first couple. It was a pair of singles and a walk that drove in those first 2 runs, but not necessarily hit hard tonight. He looked okay. It was just allowed base runners and too many deep at-bats that chased him from this game after only 4 innings pitched.
Grichuk, who struck out in the third and walked in the first, at the plate now. Of course, a big 2-run shot for him yesterday. If you missed last night's ball game, it was well, it was quite the doozy, to say the least, as Grichuk strikes out. So back-to-back Ks for Perez start off his outing. And the Blue Jays lost the game yesterday 4-2. As we see Grichuk strike out the inside low there.
And that was a slider that I think Grichuk didn't quite pick up properly, because swinging like that one would have been a fastball in on his hands, trying to stay alive and foul it off, but he was actually late on that one. So it was an off-speed that he was behind on. He was just trying to spoil it and stay alive, unable to there, and he's the second strikeout victim in his many batters faced for Perez.
0-2 now to Guerrero Jr. So yeah, we see Perez getting ahead often in the count. He's seen these hitters a number of times now. We've seen him a lot. Of course, this entire Red Sox bullpen has seen the Jays a lot. A lot of their starters haven't been able to go too deep this season against Toronto. As Guerrero Jr. flies that one out into right center. Deep, but Lynn is there to make the play. So a high fly ball is caught for the third out. And we'll head now to the 6th. 4-2 Blue Jays.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Yeah, so we'll see Wilmer Font coming out of the Blue Jays bullpen. He's been excellent in just 10 innings this season so far, but very effective, especially against both lefties and righties. I think that's why we see him here.
Yet to allow a run. Just 9 base runners in his 10 innings of work. He's been very solid, and I think it's nice to see Font coming in with a lead. First 2 outings of the year were both 3-inning appearances for him, where he came in closer to a mop-up role than a high-leverage role. Here he'll get the 6th with a 2-run lead against important batters, starting off with Rafael Devers, as Montoya shows a little bit more trust in him, giving him this opportunity here.
Well, often we'd see Yamaguchi, and now we see Font in what is a very high-leverage situation. 6th inning up 2, trying to bridge the way to the back end of that bullpen, which has been excellent, by the way.
Well, and just to speak about how excellent, how about in historical territory? Today we see Ken Giles potentially, if this lead holds, chasing down an MLB record.
As Devers grounds that one to third, Guerrero Jr. makes the play. Yes, history potentially in the making today, folks. Giles is 14 for 14 in save opportunities this season. Now, one more would give him the most saves ever before May 1st in Major League Baseball history. Yes, I said history. It's never happened before. 15 would be the all-time record before May 1st, so essentially the first month and a bit of the season. The current record is Kirby Yates with San Diego last year. He had 14. So last year this record was set, and the Jays' record for saves in a month was set in July 1999. It was 11 by Billy Koch, and Ken Giles, of course, 10 currently in a month. So he has the chance to, first of all, tie a Blue Jays record and beat out a Major League Baseball record. Just needs one more save in either tonight or tomorrow.
Well, that's it. They've only got the 2 games left here in April because it's just going to be tonight, tomorrow. Thursday's an off day, so wasn't able to come into last night's game. The Jays never had a lead late, didn't have that save situation for him. They've only got 2 chances to try and present him a late inning lead to try and close out that MLB record and tie up Koch's record for the Jays franchise.
That'd be massive, especially from a guy who really hasn't gotten... The fanfare with Giles has been interesting as Moreland walks. Because, well, he does get attention. He got traded here he wasn't the main discussion of that Osuna trade, right? And so when Giles comes here as a closer, a very effective closer, listen, this is a premier pitcher. He's got great stuff, arguably the best stuff in this whole Blue Jays organization, frankly, at the moment. And now he's on the verge of real history, Major League Baseball history. I mean, what a record that would be if he were to do it. The most saves before May 1st. He's only got tonight and tomorrow left to do so. That's kind of the nature of the closer position. You never really know. You need a certain situation to be able to come in and do your job. As Pilar flies out to right, so 2 away with a runner on first for Kevin Plawecki here.
And you mentioned the value that Giles brings. I mean, WAR, the counting stat, wins above replacement, not overly favorable to relievers because they don't work the same amount of innings of relief to make as big an impact as a starting pitcher does, but Giles is beating out 2 of the members of the rotation in WAR. He's got 0.5 wins so far this season, which beats out Anderson and Tanner Roark.
As that one's ground over to Guerrero Jr. at third, he stops it, ranging to his right, but forgets the baseball as that one falls right in front of him. So that Plawecki will reach. First and second, 2 away for Zue Lin.
Big opportunity for Lin. Just his 6th at-bat on the season. Has just 1 hit in those 5 previous at-bats, and it was a big double. Here, that would probably tie this game up.
As that one is fouled into the right field side. So 0-2 quickly here to Lin. Font trying to work through this 6th without allowing a run. Of course, high leverage, a real opportunity for Font here. Montoya giving him the keys to the car, if you will. And we'll see if he can drive it to the destination or possibly get into the ditch here. 2-2 now to Lin.
Font just 1 pitch away from getting out of this jam. Battling here, Lin is, of course, a big batter to try and get out because you've got Peraza in the top of the order looking on deck.
You don't want to have to face him. 2-2 to Lin, fouled off. And then after that, it's Benintendi, Martinez, Bogarts to start to get back into the The tough bats in this lineup to get through. 2-2 to Lynn. Taken on the inside part for strike 3. So Lynn strikes out looking. Doesn't like the call, but Font is able to get through the 6th without allowing a run. 4-2 Blue Jays. Welcome back to Toronto, Virtual Jays Network. My name is Jackson Farough, joined today by Drew Frank in the booth. Thank you for joining us for Game 2, this 3-game AL East battle. And these two teams probably going to be sick of each other very soon. It's the 3rd series between these two clubs. Toronto leads the season series 6-2 currently. Red Sox won yesterday, and currently the Blue Jays are out front 4-2 off 4 RBI from Bo Bichette in this one. As that one's sprayed into left field. Travis Shaw beats the shift and gets himself a leadoff single here.
Benintendi quickly gets over and gets to that ball that realistically could have been extra bases. Again, not hit overly hard off the bat, but it's about where as opposed to how you hit it. And that one drops in and trickles all the way towards the corner. Benintendi quickly gets there, and Shaw won't try and push for extra bases, but that's a long single, and no doubt about it, as the shift was playing heavily to pull.
So it's Gurriel Jr. up now, 0 for 1 with a walk. Shaw now 2 for 3 on the day. As Gurriel flies that one into center. Lynn doesn't have the heroics this time. Tries another dive, but can't get it. So 1st and 2nd, nobody out to start off this inning.
And he made a great play in the 1st here. Shows a great effort at the very least and gets a piece of it. What's important here is that he kept that ball in front of him. 1 base for each runner. If that gets by him, you could potentially see as much as the runner Shaw scoring all the way from 1st if he has to go chase that one back all the way to the wall if it gets by him.
So it's Tellez at the plate. We saw him in a very similar situation in the 3rd. Runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out. He grounded out to 1st. Runners advanced. 2 batters later, Bo Bichette gets 2 RBI. And we see Tellez single this time. That one's into left. Shaw will be stopped at 3rd. So bases loaded for Teoscar Hernandez here.
And the Jays are quick to jump on Perez here, as it's 3 singles after he goes 3 up, 3 down in the last inning with a pair of strikeouts. He doesn't retire an out so far, and now the bases are loaded against him for a big righty power bat in Teoscar Hernandez.
Bo Bichette looms on deck. He homered last time out. Perez's cutter misses low, ball 1. Perez encountering some trouble here after, as you mentioned, a pretty quick 5th inning, a couple strikeouts, as that one is driven to the left, but that'll sail foul.
In his career, Hernandez is just 4 for 25 with the bases loaded. He does have a pair of doubles in those 2 hits, but hasn't done too much.
1-1 to Hernandez is popped up. Plawecki doesn't have to move very much, just has to get up. Pete makes the play. Hernandez retired.
Well, now who better to add on to the RBI total than the man that's already gotten 4 today? It'll be Bo Bichette, 2 for 2, a home run and a single, each providing 2 RBIs, and now he's coming up with 3 more ducks on the pond.
He's looking to cash in some more. Why not? What an opportunity he's had. I think a lot of that stems, too, from guys like Shaw, Gurriel Jr., and Tellez all having good days at the plate, too, right? And Hernandez not so much, but that's okay when the other 3 guys are doing a good job of getting on base, giving the number 9 hitter Bichette a chance to get these RBI. See if he can come up with some more heroics here. Starts off with a strike.
And he Of course, a small sample size and a short career thus far, but 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts with the bases loaded. Yet to really deliver that big hit in his young career.
As the 0-1 taken high for ball 1 now. And a hit here would really break things open. Although I think if you're a fan of baseball history, maybe you don't want to see this happen, even if you are a Blue Jays fan, as that would potentially not give Giles a chance to get that save and break that record as we were talking about. Currently tied for the most saves before May 1st in baseball history. One more would give him the all-time record. Currently a 4-2 Blue Jays lead. 3-1 to Bichette. Lefty Perez deals. That one swung on, stung to Devers, and he makes the catch on the liner. So 2 away now off a big defensive play from Devers.
What a play by Devers. Spins him around because of how hard that one was hit to his glove side. But what's important is he spears it and comes up with it. That ball's down, and that's in the corner. You got to figure at least 2 runs are scoring. Speed on second, Gurriel you'd think would have no problem scoring, but no, instead it's just a hard hit second out, and a guy who's been struggling, Kevin Biggio, gets a big opportunity.
Biggio 0 for 3 on the day, 2 strikeouts, and a 1-1 count now. Bases juiced. Hernandez and Bichette both are retired, so we'll see if Perez can work his way potentially out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. 2-1 to Biggio. Here's an opportunity for Biggio to break out of his little slump at the moment. Drives that one into center field. Lynn ranging back, and he makes the play. So, loud third out there, and Perez is able to escape. Bases loaded, nobody out. It's still 4-2 Toronto here on the virtual Jays Network. So Wilmer Font will toe the rubber for second inning of work here as he tries to bridge the gap between the starter Thornton, who went 5 innings today, allowing 2 runs, and the bullpen, Bass, the setup man, and Giles, closer. 1-1 to Peraza, the leadoff hitter. It'll be Peraza, Benintendi, and J.D. Martinez due up for the Red Sox. 1-1 taken, although check swing. Curveball outside, ball 2.
And it should be no surprise to see Font back out here again. He's got 10 innings pitched, but those only spread over 4 games. A guy that's averaging over 2 innings per relief appearance. And of course, Montoya not afraid to send him back out again.
2-2 drilled in the left field. Peraza waving him over, and it'll sail foul. And a deep shot there with 2 strikes and 2 balls. Fouls that one off, stays alive here. Peraza spent 4 seasons in Cincinnati. First year in Boston. I'm a backup infielder, mainly a backup second baseman, with Pedroia out and Chavis assuming the starting role. Although I don't think anything's necessarily set in stone in Boston yet, especially with the way things have gone. They are, of course, 13-18 on the season. Payoff to Peraza. Taken on the inside corner for strike 3.
And after striking out Lynn on the fastball in the inner half, also looking to end last inning, he does the exact same with Peraza. It's the fastball, he gets him looking. Clearly thought he would be going for a breaking ball with the full count pitch to try and put him away, but instead goes fastball and is rewarded.
That's deep to right field. Looks into foul territory. Hernandez flies over and makes the play. Now 2 retired.
And Font's an interesting pitcher because he's kind of been around the league, but even though he's played 5 years, in parts of 5 years, dating all the way back to 2012, he's only got 135 career innings, or 145 including his work so far in 2020, but never working more than really a handful of innings per season. 2019 was the first year that he works over 44 innings, as he got a full 84 in as parts starter, parts reliever, parts opener. And I was surprised to see that was his first at-bat against Peraza there, despite his time spent with the Mets in the National League, his time spent with the Dodgers, and really a guy that's been around the league and has some experience, but hasn't had that huge workload or necessarily gotten into too many games.
And I think Montoya really needs to see what he has in a guy like Wilmer Font, because we talked about it, no runs allowed yet. Now through 11 innings, potentially 12 here. He's 1 strike away from doing so. You need to see if this is a guy maybe you can use in more higher leverage situations than just middle relief. As that one is lined, what a play by Tellez. Slides to his left, catches it on the lineout. 3 up, 3 down for Font as we stretch. Still 4-2 game in Toronto.
Your attention, please. Now,
Welcome back, and we'll see Ryan Brazier on the mound for the Red Sox here.
And it was Brazier that surrendered the home run to Danny Jansen back on opening day to break a tie game, as Jansen untied it in a hurry with a solo shot that ended up being the difference maker. Here Brazier's going to come out and face him first, so Ron Renicky giving him an opportunity to say, hey, this is your man, let's see what you can do.
It's up against Danny Jansen, who's 1 for 3. Catching today, as per usual. Drills that one to the left, but it's foul, so 2-1 now. Jansen, arguably the best player on the Blue Jays so far, except for maybe Ken Giles in Toronto, because Jansen leads the Blue Jays currently and wins above replacement, currently sitting at 1.3. As he drives that one, a soaring shot in the left, but Benintendi makes the play. 1 out.
now batting, center fielder.
And he hit a ball hard foul before that. You can see Benintendi here has no problem tracking that one down, but solid contact off the bat. He got a little bit under that one. He could have done some real damage, but squares that one up a little too squarely and doesn't get enough lift on that ball to get it for extra bases.
0-1.
See some more action in the Red Sox bullpen. Heath Hembry and, of course, Darwinson Hernandez, kind of a virtual Jays Network legend. Bottom of the 7th here in Toronto. It's a 4-2 game. We thank you for joining us today, by the way. On the VJN, Jackson Farrell alongside Drew Frank. 1-1 is drilled foul.
If you haven't had a chance, we're starting to take a look at what our community's thinking about this Jays roster. Put a poll out on our Twitter that's still up and it's still active if you search Virtual Jays Net on Twitter. Looking at what roster moves you might want to see first. The Jays have all sorts of pitchers that are on these expiring contracts, and Just looking to hear what the community's got to say on who you would move first.
Yes, this Blue Jays front office is crowdsourcing a little bit at the moment. And yeah, we'd love to know what you think about all that. So be sure to check it out. Lots of good content on the Virtual Jays Network social platforms. So full count to Grichuk here. Bottom of the 7th, 1 away. As Brazier looks to deal, and he gets himself a strikeout there on the upper part of the zone. Now 3 Ks on the day for Grichuk.
And that was a slider he was well out in front of. Read it out of the hand as a fastball because he was well fooled and had his bat through the zone before that pitch even approached the plate. Fastball high is a pitch that Brazier will go to as he elevates and tries to challenge righty hitters like Grichuk. Here, though, he doesn't go to that. He pulls the string with a slider and gets the swinging strikeout.
Starts off with a changeup that Guerrero Jr. is well out in front of here now. Jr. is 1 for 3 on the day with a single and a couple flyouts to center. Good matchup for him here, though. 0-2 taken upstairs, ball 1. Nobody on, 2 away for the cleanup hitter, Guerrero Jr. Takes inside, that's a changeup for ball 2. As Brazier looks to work through a 1-2-3. Now a full count. And that one, grounded foul. Of course, if you're just joining us, a bit of a history watch as it's 4-2 Toronto. Ken Giles is currently tied for the Major League record for most saves before May 1st. He has tonight and tomorrow to finish off potentially what has been an incredible couple months, as that one is ground just inside fair territory, I should say. It's a ground rule double with 2 away for Vlad Guerrero Jr.
That's a dangerous play there for Kevin Pillar in the corner. We saw Jose Bautista a couple times back when he was a right fielder injure his knee sliding into that wall. Here Pillar kind of tries to stop his momentum by jumping up onto that wall, and he seems okay as a result, but that ball bouncing just inside fair territory. Pillar not able to get to it, but he was trucking at full speed to try and get there. Close call, but everyone's okay as a result.
So 0-2 to Travis Shaw. 2 for 3 on the day. Single his last time up. And it's interesting with Shaw. They love to shift against him, but he's using the whole part of the field. The second inning is singled right to center, and then in the 6th, just last inning, he singled down the left field line. So he's spraying the ball. We've seen that really all year. He uses the whole part of the park. 1-2 to the DH today is fouled off. As Brazier looks to limit any damage possibly here from Guerrero Jr. reaching 2 away.
Against lefties, Brazier throughout his career has worked inside and down for the most part. Expect maybe a fastball in the inner half to try and put him away.
Shaw, of course, homered. Last time he homered was back on Friday against Baltimore. He strikes out there, so a couple strikeouts in this inning for Brazier as he escapes a 2-out double from Vlad Guerrero Jr. Still a 4-2 game as we head to the 8th from the Virtual Jays Network.
Your attention, please.
Welcome back on the Virtual Jays Network here at the Rogers Center. It'll be Anthony Bass, the setup man for the Jays, up now.
Bass will be facing Bogaerts, Devers, and Moreland, so no easy task, but as he comes in, he relieves Wilmer Font, who had a solid day today. Faced the order almost through a full time, pitched 2 innings, didn't allow a run, got into a bit of trouble back in the 6th with runners on first and second as a result of an error by Guerrero Jr., but worked out of it and continues what's been a flawless season out of the pen for Font.
And does exactly what Montoyo needed him to do. Bridge between the starter Thornton, who went 5, and the back end of this bullpen, Bass and Giles. And we see Bass now, so Font does a great job in this bullpen, and we may see him used in more higher leverage situations now. As that cutter's taken inside 2-1 to Bogaerts. So it'll be Bogaerts, Devers, Moreland. No easy task, especially for the righty against, well, a good righty in Bogaerts, and then 2 good lefties, Devers and Moreland, who are both capable of putting some serious power in the baseball. 2-2 to the shortstop, Bogaerts. Taken right on the block for strike 3.
And that's a tough pitch to locate. The curveball outside. And we take a look at the 2 starting pitchers. Both relatively short outings. Rodriguez only gets through 4 innings. Thornton through 5. But it's the 4 runs allowed by Eduardo Rodriguez here. The bullpens have looked good. And all the 6 runs charged so far to both teams have come off of the starting pitchers. If he manages to get Bo Bichette out instead of surrendering the home run, then this game would be very different. But unfortunately for Rodriguez, as Bo Bichette left the yard with that 2-run shot, that's been the difference today.
So it kind of comes down now to the back end of this Blue Jays bullpen, if they can get it done. Bass and Giles, who both haven't disappointed very often this season. Of course, Giles on the verge of making history, as we've discussed. Just needs 1 more save to set the all-time Major League record for most saves before May 1st. And he's currently perfect. So we'll see if, first off, Bass needs to get through the rest of this inning. 3-1 to Devers. No easy task against a couple good lefties.
And Bass worked 2 of the 3 games in Baltimore, but didn't pitch at all in this series at Fenway. His 2 outings against Boston both came in the first homestand, where he picked up his first save as a Blue Jay in the final game of the set, where Giles was used in the first 3. They didn't want to use him 4 straight games, so Bass got the opportunity, picked up a 4-out save, 2 strikeouts, didn't allow a base runner.
So Devers fouls. Still a full count. Payoff taken outside, so Devers walks with 1 out here, and that'll bring up Mitch Moreland, who's 0 for 2 on the day.
It's just the 2nd walk of the season from Bass. And through 10 outings, now in his 11th outing here, he's looked good, and a lot of that's come from limiting base runners. A 1-out walk now puts the tying run at the plate. And with Moreland up now, a guy that's got some power, and yesterday's hero Kevin Pillar behind him, Bass is going to have to make some big pitches to keep this game where it is on the scoreboard.
Moreland walked his last time up. 0-1 taken. Bottom part of the zone now 0-2. Bass working ahead here, and he gets the 3-pitch strikeout as Mullen swings and misses on that off-speed.
Well, both of his strikeouts have come with that curveball. It was looking against Bogaerts as he froze him on the outer half. Here it's a swing and miss over top of that. A very effective breaking ball. It's a slider curveball hybrid that's got quite a bit more drop than the traditional slider typically does. And there you can see it dropping right underneath Moreland's bat.
1-1 out of Pillar. Bass been very effective in the 8th inning for the Blue Jays this year. Kind of assumed that role out the gates, and he's done a great job in relishing that. Gets ahead to Pillar now, 1-2. We talk about trade pieces. 2 guys right here, Bass and Giles, could be on the move as well come July. More on that later, as that was grounded short. Bichette to second for the force out. So the stage is still set. We head to the bottom of the 8th here in Toronto. It's a 4-2 game. Don't go anywhere. History could be on the horizon.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention.
So it'll be Heath Hembry coming in.
For Boston,
Bottom of the 8th here in Toronto as the Jays lead 4-2.
Hembry.
And Hembry has been very consistent for these Red Sox. The two numbers I pick off that scoreboard are his averages against righties and lefties. Righties are hitting 121 and lefties are hitting 174 against him. He's been very effective at keeping runners off the base paths. They're not hitting him, and with 30 strikeouts to just 5 walks, they're not really reaching via the free pass either. So here he comes in facing 3 guys that have some pop between Gurriel, Tellez, and Hernandez, and keeping them off the base paths is what the Red Sox need here as they trail by 2, but they've got some bats themselves that can keep this game, that can tie this game up in the 9th if they can get there trailing only by 2.
Gurriel Jr. very productive in this game. He's reached twice. A single in the 6th and a walk back in the 2nd. Came around to score actually on that walk on a Bo Bichette 2 RBI single. So Gurriel Jr. gets himself a leadoff walk. And that'll bring up Rowdy Tellez, who himself is also 1 for 2 with a walk.
And the walks have hurt Boston so far today. The second run of the game that came around to score was Gurriel, who reached on a walk, and the third run of the game was Tellez, who scored after reaching on a walk. So you look at the 2-run lead here for the Blue Jays, 2 of those runs scoring after receiving a free pass, and already now a walk starts things off not the way that Heath Hembry wanted this outing to go in the 8th inning.
You're right about that. Let's see if he can recover here. 1-1 count now to Tellez as he swings and misses.
And he beat him with that fastball, but that's a great spot for Rowdy Tellez, right in the wheelhouse. Fastball, middle in. He's late on that one at 95, but you can bet he wants that one back.
As that one's ground to second, chance for 2. And they get it. Double play there. So Tellez is retired, and 2 away now for Teoscar Hernandez. Good job up the middle by the Red Sox defense.
And now for the Blue Jays, it'll be the only one of 2 guys in this lineup that haven't reached base yet. Biggio at the top is 0 for 4 with a couple strikeouts, and Teoscar Hernandez 0 for 3 with a strikeout himself. In that 4th inning, right before Bichette's home run in the 9-hole, it was Teoscar Hernandez in the 8-hole who struck out and wasn't able to advance Tellez after he reached. Here he gets another chance. Nobody on this time, but he wants to join what's been an offensive explosion for the Jays tonight.
0-1 to Hernandez. Makes that 0-2. A strike on the outside part of the plate. Of course, a 4-2 game. Ken Giles due up in the 9th. If you're just joining us, he is set. And the stage is set to potentially make history as he'll come in next. Closing time in Toronto on the virtual Jays Network.
Your attention, please.
And here he is, it's Ken Giles, yet to allow a run, leads the MLB with 14 saves and 14 appearances. Here he's looking for his 15th and yet to allow a single run, yet to blow a save. I mean, he's got 8-9-1 here against Boston and history on the line.
Just to reiterate, one more save would give him the most saves ever in Major League Baseball history before May 1st. The current record is Kirby Yates, who, with the Padres last year, had 14 saves, set the record. And Giles with a chance today and potentially tomorrow as well. He needs it before May 1st to break that record. He's at 14. And the Jays' record for most saves in a month, by the way, is 11 by Billy Koch back in July of 1999. Giles is currently at 10 for the month of April, so he's got a chance to tie a Blue Jays record for most saves in a month and break the Major League Baseball record for most saves before May 1st. That was a mouthful, but I got it all out. 1-2 count to Plawecki. Let's see if Giles can do it here. Strikeout there for Giles. Starts off his outing strong. Plawecki was 2 for 3 on the day, now 2 for 4.
And the difference between the two numbers you mentioned, the 10 saves for the Jays record and his 14 saves chasing the MLB record, were the 4 saves he got in March to start things off hot. He burst out of the gate with 4 saves in the Jays' first 5 games, and so that's the reason for the difference in the numbers there. The Jays record is just a month basis, so just looking at the frame of April, whereas the record he's up against Kirby Yates is for before May 1st. And Kirby Yates, when he set that record, he went on to lead the MLB in saves last year, finishing with 41.
As Lynn fouls off. And this save would bring the Blue Jays to 18-12 record. I'm going to put the Red Sox all the way down at 13-19. We'll see if Giles can do it. Of course, lots of history on the line for him. And I think probably a big moment in his career overall, of course. 2-1 to Lynn here, the center fielder. He's looked great defensively today. A couple really fantastic plays. Taken high, ball 3 now.
And for a number 9 hitter playing center field, you don't slow them in expecting too much offensively. I mentioned just 1 for 3 and only 3 at-bats coming into today, but his value he's given in the field is all Renicky needs for him to be valuable in this lineup.
Taken on the outside part. Now a full count. Wow, Giles working that slider to get back in this count here.
And Lynn doesn't even move the bat off the shoulder. Look to be taking all the way as that slider finds the zone to make this count full.
Payoff to Lynn. Taken just outside. Giles missing his spot there, so Lynn walks, and that'll bring up the top part of this lineup. Peraza due up.
Peraza 0 for 3 on the day with a walk. He walked as part of the 5th inning where the Red Sox were able to get 2 runners on, but wasn't able to come around to score. Just batting .215 so far in 2020.
Of course, double play in effect here. And double play would in fact end this ball game and give Ken Giles that record in question. Huge at bat here though against the righty Peraza. Taken for strike 1 to kick off this at bat. 98 on the gun.
And in the first 5 appearances against Boston this season, Giles has just allowed 2 base runners. 1 hit and 1 walk. He's struck out 4 over those 5 games, picking up 5 saves.
The intensity in this building is unbelievable. As many fans came in already knowing this stat about Giles. As that one's flown into right. Hernandez gets over there, can't make the play, so it bounces in front of him. Peraza reaches, so runners at first and second now, just 1 out.
And Teoscar's looks good in right field so far this year. This one dropped right at his feet, and you gotta figure that's a ball he needs to be making out. That's a play he needs to be making, as that's a ball that's gotta be caught. Instead it'll drop, and now 2 on for Benintendi, who's already done damage so far today.
Starts off with a swinging strike inside, but yeah, 2-run shot for Benintendi in the third. The only runs the Boston scored today.
It was a splitter actually by Thornton that was left up in the zone, and Benintendi pulled it over the fence.
That one's driven into left field. So, looks like Lynn's going to try to come home, and the throw, not in time. Lynn comes home, a run scores. The first run allowed by Giles this season. And now Pete Walker's going to come out to have a chat with their closer here.
And that single didn't have much on it, so Gurriel, as soon as it got over the head of Guerrero, had to charge in as hard as he could. He unleashed a missile on that throw home. Came right to Jansen, a great spot, lots of power on it, but just not in time because how long it took to get out to Gurriel and left.
Runner in scoring position, JD Martinez at the plate. The score is 4-3. Giles, if he allows one more run, will not be able to break this record. It'll be the first blown save of the season for him. Double play still in order. Can he do it? 1-0 taken, strike one.
The Jays' only blown save this season was Jordan Romano at Fenway, where he later picked up the win. Jays are the only team in the MLB that have just one blown save.
Strike two swinging to Martinez. Giles gets ahead in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the DH. Taken low, 99.
This will be the 20th pitch of his outing today. A few deep counts worked here, 2-2, and a long at bat against Lynn. Giles is getting up there in pitch count.
2-2. That one swung on into center field. Grichuk makes the play. Runners can't advance, so 2 out, 2 on. It's a 1-run game. Whew. Take a breath, folks. History's on the line. With Xander Bogaerts coming up to the plate now.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for
Oh, we're going to see a pitching change here. Charlie Montoyo absolutely hijacks Ken Giles' outing. And Jordan Romano comes into this game. I can't believe this. This is insanity. Charlie Montoyo has just taken Ken Giles out of the game when he was 1 out away from making history, folks. This is injustice. This is unpalpable. I can't believe this is happening.
Well, we saw Pete Walker head out to the mound earlier and talk to Giles, so whether the dugout saw something or he said something or maybe it was Danny Jansen, clearly there was communication and that message has led to Giles being lifted here with just 1 out left to get in this ballgame.
Oh my goodness. Ken Giles records the out, but they're not going to let him go for history. And after so many times this season, we've seen Montoyo give this bullpen a chance. We've seen him let pitchers really work their way out of situations. He doesn't let his best pitcher do the same. 0-2 to Bogaerts. Romano looking to finish the job, and he does. Oh, no, they're going to say that he didn't go and that the ball was taken for a ball, in fact. So, 1-2. Romano looking to finish things off. And that one's taken outside, ball 2. I can't imagine this decision will go over very well in that clubhouse.
And Giles is a guy that's had some clubhouse issues in the past. None have carried over to Toronto, but you gotta wonder what necessarily was said on that mound visit earlier this inning.
2-2 taken low, ball 3. So full count to Bogaerts, 2 away, runner on second as well as first. Those are Peraza and Benintendi, respectively. Payoff to Bogaerts. Swung on and missed. The strikeout for Romano. Blue Jays get the win. 4-3.
Romano comes in and inherits the 2 runners, strands them both, and he picks up his second save of the season. He blew a save earlier in Fenway against Boston, but he got the win later on as it was the Reese McGuire home run late that gave it to him. Here he comes in, gets out of a jam, and Montoya trusts him to get the final out, and he gets it to deliver Trent Thornton his 4th win of this season.
Trent Thornton picks up the win. Back-to-back wins now for him. Romano gets his 2nd save of the year. And the Blue Jays take this one. They get 18 wins on the year now. And Bo Bichette, what a day for him. A home run, 4 RBI, really breaks out of, easily his best day at the plate. Breaks out of what had been an early season slump. What stands out for you the most in this one?
It's got to be Bo Bichette. I mean, his 4 RBIs looked impressive right from the very beginning. I mean, his single right down the line to drive in the first 2 gave the Jays the lead, and then Boston, who struck right back to tie things up. Bo Bichette was the next guy to have an answer as he left the yard for, at that point, was a 2-run lead. Both those runs proved important, as the 1 run that came across in the 9th to score would have tied things up if not for the extra run that Bo Bichette put on the boards in the 4th inning. So really, a guy that we've mentioned over and over is not delivering and struggling time and time again. Here he finally breaks out for his first real dominant performance at the plate, going 2 for 3, responsible for every single run that's crossed the plate for the Blue Jays, and hopefully for his sake, may be able to build some momentum off this moving forward.
Of course, a big story in this game as well is what happened just at the very end of that game there when Ken Giles, in line to make history. Nobody has had more than 14 saves before May 1st in Major League Baseball history. Ken Giles was 1 out away from doing that, albeit with runners on 1st and 2nd. And Charlie Montoya decides to bring in Jordan Romano. Yes, that Jordan Romano. He comes in, yes, picks up the 2nd save of his season. Great, but Ken Giles doesn't get a chance at history, and who knows? After all, tomorrow is his last chance to do that. Why do you think they take Giles out there?
I've got to assume it was something from the mound visit, because that was the first time we've seen Pete Walker visit Giles. Giles, that was his 15th appearance, had kind of been left on his own. And I'm not sure whether it was an injury concern, something with his delivery, something with the matchup, but I've got to figure something was said where it was maybe you've got 2 batters, get out of this, and after that fly ball out, that was it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see post-game what comes out in the media for what led to that decision.
Yeah, there'd have to be some kind of injury there. I just can't see a situation in which any sane manager, especially the way Montoya has let this bullpen really figure it out for themselves, and why not with your best pitcher on the mound do that? Interesting decision to say the least, but fact of the matter is Blue Jays pick up the win, and tomorrow Ryu will go for them as they head into their 5th straight rubber match of a series here.
And it'll be an interesting matchup because it's Colin McHugh on the mound for Boston. And he's, despite all the matchups these 2 teams have played against each other, he's the guy that they haven't seen yet. Colin McHugh only pitching an inning and 2/3 in his only start of the season. He was called up and made his first start just last week on Friday when we talked about, in last night's game, their implosion on the mound where they surrendered 13 runs to Minnesota on the Friday night game. Just this past weekend, it was McHugh who got the start there, couldn't get out of the 2nd inning. He walked 5 batters, surrendered 5 hits for 5 runs on an inning and 2/3. He's had some success throughout his career, and he's really going to have to gear in and buckle down to try and bounce back from what was by far his worst outing of his career.
So we'll see what that matchup entails tomorrow. We'll have it right here on the Virtual Jays Network at 7:07 Eastern. And for Jackson Farough, Andrew Frank, we thank you for joining us today on the Virtual Jays Network. Jays pick up their 18th on the season, and we'll see who can take this series tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.